Show with Pana civic, business, and nonprofit leaders coming to you from our Taylorville studios. The WTIM Pana Morning Show. It's brought to you by our title sponsor and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with your Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Ridings of Pana, and the Nokomis Dairy Queen, Pana Bowl, and the Okanee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman, and our guest in this segment is Mark Schmitz. Mark is a 7th grade science teacher with Pana Junior High School. Good morning to you, Mark, and how are you today?
Good morning, Grayson. I'm well. How about yourself?
I am doing good. And once this fog and dreariness all kind of gets out of the area, I think we'll all be feeling a little bit better. But I'm really excited to have you on. This is something that I've talked about with others over the last couple of months when it comes to the Lego program at Pana Junior High School. And now I get to get it straight from the source. Tell me a little bit about how this came to be, what work it's kind of taken to get this program rolling. And if you would just kind of share some details about how you've brought this to the 7th grade students.
Absolutely. So we started this class last year. This is our very first year. I've had it the entire class, the 9th hour class. We offered at Pana Junior High. It started with just an idea from my principal, Lisa Mayhall, who asked we wanted to do some engineering, coding, maybe robotics. Where could we go with that? I was aware of the Lego robotics program that we introduced about 7 years previous in some other classes, but there are newer versions available. I asked her if we could get our hands on that. I could definitely produce a class from that. She definitely helped me out there dramatically, got these kits in our hands, and we rolled from there. I run this class out of my science classroom, so I've dedicated in that space one lab table to the class where I set up a competition zone for them. Students throughout the year come in to each quarter. And so each quarter I have a different number of students that get to work on these. The first 3 quarters I run the same competition, and I take at the very last quarter or 4th quarter of the year, the groups that scored the highest amount of points in those competitions. I bring them back for our kind of Lego Masters class, we call it, where these guys know what they're doing. They don't get any instruction from me. We just roll with it out of the get-go. For those guys in that quarter, I construct a brand new course with all new objects and different objectives to accomplish. And they have the entire 9 weeks to plan, code, build, and execute before our last week of competition.
For you, and this obviously being kind of that test run, that trial period almost, what would you say worked for you here in this first year? What would you say maybe some changes that might come with it? What have you kind of learned over this last year and maybe how to continue to improve the program?
Well, I've learned that you don't underestimate kids and what they're able to do. What I kind of in my head had an idea of what they would be able to produce and what level of challenges they would be able to accomplish. Well, I saw as we've gone along that some of these kids, they really know what's going on. They have the engineering brain. They need a more challenging course, maybe some more challenging implements to it next year. So I'll definitely be incorporating that for them.
Wow.
Also, I need to expand this. I want to get more kids in the class, as many as possible, because even if you don't maybe necessarily like Lego, the coding aspect of it, the planning aspect of it, it's just good brain work. It's amazing for anybody. And I want to try to get more and more kids in there. The kits themselves are $400 a piece, so it's cost prohibitive to get a ton of kids in here. But as we go along, we find sources of funding. That's our plan, to just get more kids so I can get more kids in the door.
Would love that for you. And how many kids did you have this year?
Total, for the first 3 quarters, I had 32 kids participate. And for my last quarter, I brought back 8 kids for our final competition. Those are the top 8 performers of the year.
I feel like that's a healthy number even for a first year. So kind of a good trial size almost, we'll call it too, to kind of figure out, how many maybe more that we could add and things of that nature. Love that it's been a success in this last year for you. And you've let us know how the Lego program came to be. Tell us, if you would, a little bit about these Lego robots and some of the work that has to go into actually coding them, making them do exactly what you're looking for the kids to have them do.
So about 20 years ago, Lego got into the education aspect of their company with robotics. And they've started to produce over the years a number of kits for kids to use and code with. Their latest version is a version that goes from kids from kindergarten all the way through college because of the coding they've embedded in that. They're a very good company, listening to their teachers that are using it, taking the feedback, and this is where this newest model has come from. The components in it they try to do a good job of getting high engineering aspects of all the pieces they include, but at a low cost for schools. So with that kit, the bounds are limitless for the kids. They, with some add-ons, they're coding. They can do all the way from picture blocks all the way up into JavaScript and writing their own code. Throughout that process, the coding process, it's really imperative to make it as simple as possible. Code that is long and complex generally doesn't work, and they learn that very quickly. So it's nice for them to see that, because it's a real world application of that. That code is just got to be simple to work and repeatable as much as possible. So as we go through, I do kind of try to bring up these real world applications and what they're actually working on. They respond to that very well, because some of them even said already that's kind of the focus of their career and where they want to go to. So the earlier we get these guys in there, the better it is.
And you're getting them fairly early at that 7th grade age. And
yeah,
I think in terms of what it might expose them to down the road and what opportunities can come from it, I think, again, the world of that itself. When it comes to the coding side of it, you mentioned the competitions and those things like that. And also that there wasn't too many, we'll call them parameters around what they were willing to code or what they were able to code, but just what kind of worked for them in terms of their skill level with it. Coding and competition wise, what did those kind of look like in the classroom?
In the classroom, many of them discovered quickly and maybe not have been fans of, mathematics comes into it very quickly. When a robot travels, for these Lego robots, they travel for certain distances based on the tires they use. So changing tires brings in different mathematics to it. Coding them for travel is kind of the biggest point of all, because they're on a table with a fixed space. All objects are placed in a fixed location. So their distance of travel doesn't change from run to run. They have to get down how far I need to go, under what time I need to go there. They also learn very quickly that moving faster with a robot isn't necessarily the best, because it's not repeatable. The faster you go, the more objects you might encounter that throw you just a little bit off. A fraction of an inch, I'm talking about less than a 16th of an inch difference over 4 feet can translate into being off 4 or 5 inches. So if you're at your next objective, you have got to be turning at the same rate every time. You've got to be moving to the same object you get each time. That becomes complicated and tedious, but it's great brain work for them. They figure it out. They go through these. They solve their problems. I love seeing that aspect of it, because you see these kids who, honestly, today they struggled with grit and trying to overcome problems, and I just get to see these kids go over and over and over again and struggle, but honestly, they keep their heads up. They're positive about it. It's a great experience for them and me as well.
I'm sure. And the other thing too that you mentioned there, the soft skills, the problem solving, the teamwork, you might not think about those right away, but because you're obviously learning about coding or engineering, how to get this robot to do exactly what I'd like for it to do, but you are also learning those soft skills. Super important piece to that as well, especially at that young age. For you and the Lego.
Another one.
Sorry.
The teamwork aspect was, most people think of teamwork as one thing, but in a classroom where I have one table, I have 6 teams. The teamwork aspect is also in, you guys got to share the space. We're all together here. You got to be working more efficiently to win this thing. So how can you guys actually work together as competitors, but also you're trying to help yourselves out at the same time? That's another aspect they don't really get to work on much, but it helps a lot, I think, in the long run.
I think just the work that they're doing, they're probably getting that work on it too. Just the exposure to it as well. I just think that moving forward, this will be a really big deal. You mentioned the 8 kids that got to move on to the final competition, kind of put those tests or those skills to the test. What did the final competition itself look like once you got all the robots kind of squared away and ready to go?
Yeah, so for the final competition, I have a theme every time. As Lego builds a lot of stuff around themes, so I try to match that. And it was an underwater theme for the last one. So I had 9 different ocean creatures. They're very small, laid out on an island, quote unquote. And those were the main pieces that could be moved around the board to score points. Now, there were different places they could put them. For instance, there was a coral reef that they could stack them on at different levels, and the higher up they went, the more points it was allowed. There was a shark cage they had to knock into a deeper part of the ocean. Placing objects in there gains you points. There was a compass that was able to be moved 360 degrees, so if they started east and moved to west, that got points. And there was a shipwreck that was a ship up on rocks that had to be moved off properly into a certain location for points. So as they went along, they learned that each different piece of this, and this is how I designed it, each piece requires different coding. So these guys I brought back know that they have the skills to do it, but they might not have seen this in the previous competition. So I planned it that way based on them being able to build their skills in this, apply what they learn, do this new stuff. But as part of it, they didn't get any instruction. The first 3 quarters, they did get instruction from me on how to do things, but this one I left open for that very reason, that they could, on their own, engineer, on their own code, on their own think, really. How are they going to get through this? Offering little hints along the way, of course, but it was really just about how far they were willing to take it and how much work they wanted to put into it.
And I know you don't need my input, but I believe that was a really smart way of actually closing things out, kind of putting the onus on them to actually develop what was needed. So again, we are speaking with Mark Schmidt, 7th grade teacher, science teacher with Pana Junior High School. And we are talking maybe the coolest add to the curriculum down at Pana Junior High that is even possible, the Lego program and the robots that have come out of it. We'll come back around. We'll talk more with Mark about it when we return. You're listening to the WTIM Pana Morning Show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
Your information station, WTIM.
This is Nicole Maloli with People's Bank and Trust, where customers have one consumer banker who knows them and provides the right financial services to achieve their financial goals. Your consumer banker is your single source for life's financial needs, from checking to consumer loans, from retirement accounts to mortgage loans, and everything in between. Call me at 888-PBT-1954. Bank with People's Bank and Trust, so you can spend your time living your life, not explaining it. At People's Bank and Trust, we put people first. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Find all of your Father's Day favorites this week at your locally owned Pana Save a Lot. This is Tim and Eric here with this week's specials.
Whole seedless watermelons, just $3.99.
USDA inspected T-bone steaks, $5.99 a pound.
Nature's Grain hamburger or hot dog buns, 4 for $5.
Assorted Pepsi 12 packs, 2 for $12.
Pork spare ribs, $2.49 a pound.
And fresh bone-in pork steaks or Western style ribs for only $2.29 a pound.
Hurry in, these prices are good through Tuesday, June 17th at your locally owned Pana Save a Lot.
Hope to see you soon.
Hi, it's Brian Booth, and it's the final days of Buy Like an Employee at Bob Riding's Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Pana. Join us Saturday, June 28th for free snow biz, free food, and great deals. We have Ram trucks with an average savings of over $12,000 off MSRP. We have new Chrysler vans under $40,000, select Jeeps under $30,000. See us online at bobridingspana.com or come see us Saturday, June 28th in Pana. Cars and trucks are like eggs. They're cheaper in the country.
Summer's heating up, and so is your grill. Stop by Okanee Chop Shop, your local USDA butcher shop, right off Highway 51 in Okanee, Illinois. We've got premium cuts of beef, pork, and chicken, plus barbecue sauces, cheeses, eggs, sodas, and more. Need custom meat processing? Bring in your own animal. We'll handle it start to finish. Open Monday through Friday, 9 till 5, and Saturday, 9 till 1. And don't miss our summer grill raffle, your chance to win a Blackstone grill. Find us on Facebook at OkaneeChopShop.com.
Looking for food, fun, and bowling? Head to Pana Bowl. We've got open bowling every Friday and Saturday night, perfect for family fun or a night out with friends. Don't miss our Tuesday and Wednesday special, unlimited bowling from 5 to 10 p.m. for just $9. Feeling hungry? Our kitchen's cooking up favorites Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Visit PanaBowl.net or like us on Facebook for the latest deals and events. Pana Bowl, where the good times roll.
Hey DQ fans, nothing can make Father's Day more memorable than a DQ cake. Treat Dad, Pops, Pappy, or Papa to one of our delicious Fudge and Crunch cakes, or get a cake in one of our other Blizzard treat flavors like Oreo cookie. Customize your DQ cake with a message that celebrates the big guy and all the wonderful things he does. Trust us, it's a lot more fun than a pair of socks or another wacky tie. Only at participating DQ locations, 100 South Oak in Nokomis and 333 West 2nd Street in Pana. Happy tastes good.
WTIM.
Back around with the WTIM Pana Morning Show here on your information station. With Pana civic, business, and nonprofit leaders, we're coming to you from our Taylorville studios. The WTIM Pana Morning Show, it's brought to you by our title sponsor and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with your Pana Save a Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, the Nokomis Dairy Queen, Pana Bowl, and the Okanee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, Mark Schmitz, 7th grade science teacher with Pana Junior High School. Mark has been letting us know how this year has gone with the Lego program in its first edition of it. Mark, anything else before we kind of wrap up this chapter of the program and start to talk about the future?
Well, this year was a great success. Anytime you have a class that unfortunately had to turn people away from, you got something in the works. We're generally trying to get them to sign up for classes. So That's why I said, I'm trying to get some more kits in there, get some more kids in the door, so I don't have to turn away anybody in the future. I can get as many kids going through this program as possible to experience those successes that I've seen other kids experience and get a whole new level of understanding and basically walk out the door and be proud of themselves. That's what we're going for.
And hopefully some grants and some other things will come through. We can add to that number, but I'm sure no matter how many kits you bring through that door, you will have plenty of kids lined up to be a part of it. So when it comes to the future of the Lego program, now that you got that year under your belt, where do you maybe see this headed, and what direction would you like for it to take?
Well, luckily at the junior high, we have 3 grade levels, 6, 7, and 8. So in the future, what I'm trying to do is get our kids in younger for this class, teaching them same skills, setting up the same competition so they can have those opportunities on their own to succeed. And with the older kids, we're going to try to get them outdoor, looking for competitions to actually enter them in, so their time in class would be utilized for preparing for those competitions, practicing. There are a number of different Lego robotics as well as other robotics competitions that are offered. The number has dropped in the recent years, but I'm hoping that trend changes, that picks back up, and we can get these guys into not just Lego, but the other opportunities out there. Because if we're talking about skills for the future, I don't think there's any better skill set to have than mathematics, engineering, and basically the overall ability to think. It's going to benefit them no matter what they choose to go to.
Especially that last part there, the ability to critically think, or have reason, common sense, seemingly is going away. And to add to that, at such a young age, it's going to be very powerful moving forward. Let's say you are able to get 6th graders through the door. So would we start with maybe roughly what we're doing now at the 7th grade level, get them introduced to it at 6th grade, maybe expand on it in the 7th grade level, and then hopefully send them off to competitions and challenges in the 8th grade year? Is that kind of the breakdown that you're thinking?
Absolutely. Yeah. The 6th graders, mathematics wise, they haven't been introduced to some of the things that are necessary. So I can at least start with coding. By the time they get those skills in mathematics under their belt, then I'll have them in a better position than I have kids now, because I've had a year to go through those things with them. We can apply that. And then as 8th graders, they're on their own. We're going to try to find opportunities for them to really use these skills in other ways.
STEM challenges and competitions hopefully will continue to pop up across the area as STEM and things like this Lego program continue to improve and also continue to make their way to Central Illinois. So looking forward to that for you. I know it's not just you, although right now that's all we have with us. I know you want to give a shout out to some of those folks that have helped you also put this Lego program on, and especially that 9th hour class. What can you tell us there, Mark?
Yeah, at Pana Junior High, we have this amazing opportunity in our 9th hour classes where teachers are allowed to come up with whatever they want. It has nothing to do with curriculum. We have offerings from history of music. We have games and strategies. We have time for kids to get extra help on stuff as well. So we're allowed to be creative, and it's something that a lot of other school districts don't have. That creativity is amazing for teachers, because we often get into these, long, dark hallways of, this is our curriculum, this is all we do. With these kind of opportunities, it makes you just a better teacher overall, because you're allowed to think and expand on what you're doing and apply that maybe back to your regular classes. But as well for the kids, they do the same things day in and day out. They take the same classes. It's a great opportunity for them to see other things, to just at the end of the day, just have fun and enjoy their learning. And this is the way we can do it, because so many things we're mandated to do, of course, but this isn't a mandate. This is something we offer our kids because we know it's good for them. Mrs. Mayhall, our principal, has been amazing about expanding our programs and supporting us in this just as much as she supports us in the regular curriculum. So with an administrator like that, and staff that are willing to put that time and effort into it, there's no bounds where we can go with this. We're going to see it grow in the future, and it's going to be amazing for kids.
I look forward to it, and hopefully more kits equals more kids, and plenty of support there from the administration there at Pana Junior High. And I just think, man, you guys could take this so many cool directions. And if you got them in at that 6th grade level, get another year of experience under the belt, I think this could go very, very far. Mark, thank you so much for joining us here today on the morning show.
Thank you, Grayson. Have a great day.
You too, sir. 7th grade science teacher with Pana Junior High School telling us about the Lego program at Pana Junior High. You're listening to WTIM and our Pana Morning Show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville.
96.1 FM Taylorville.
107.5 FM Shelbyville.
107.9 FM Pana Nokomis.